I don't want to do it again. I don't want to bake anymore. I am over the moon excited. We went to a local farmer's market yesterday and they had peaches, fresh peaches from down south. Here in PA, this is a delicacy. So we're gonna make a galette today. If you're wondering what a galette is, it's a pie's cousin. It's the simplest version. It's kind of rustic. It's really easy. If you're one of those who's like, no pies, they're too complicated. This is super easy, stick with me. The recipe I'm sharing with you today, I'm using a shortening crust. If you prefer all butter, which I do sometimes too, follow this link and you can make that. This recipe is in the description below. Go ahead and print that out. It has all of the ingredients and the measurements for you. And let's get started. I have behind me here some boiling water. I also have an ice bath, and that is for our peaches. I have this all ready, so as soon as we have our crust done, we'll go ahead and start working with these peaches. I have 1.5 cups of flour in this bowl. That is 188 grams. I'm adding a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. That is 3 grams. I have a pastry blender. If you don't have one of these, I would highly recommend. They're not expensive and it really helps you to cut the fat into the flour that you're working with. It just has nice little blades there. The only other option I guess would be to use 2 knives and do the cutting and just then switch it and just keep cutting until you get the little bits of fat into the flour. I'm using this. I mixed the salt in. We want to just make sure that that is mixed well into the flour. I am adding a 1/2 cup, that's 95 grams, of shortening into the flour mixture. I'm just going to cut that in. This takes a few minutes. That's about right. I'll show you the consistency here. It's just a nice fine crumbly mixture. Next we're going to add our water. I have a 1/2 cup of water here. The measurement doesn't matter so much. I just poured some into a measuring cup and then added ice. We want this nice and cold. The best way for a crust to go into the oven is cold. So that's why we didn't do any of the cutting with our hands, because your hands are warm. You don't want to work this crust together with your hands. We don't want it to melt. So I'm going to start with about 4 tablespoons of nice cold ice water. So that is 60 milliliters. More than likely we'll be adding more. Just want to gently start tossing this. You'll start to see the dough forming clumps. We're working at getting all of the dry particles moistened. Different flours hydrate differently. So I will say you'll just have to use some of your baker's intuition here. I'm going to do another 2 tablespoons, which would be 30 more milliliters. So the texture now, you can see most of the dry particles have been incorporated. I can just see and feel that there's just a whole bunch of little clumps, like it's coming together very nicely. Now is when you transition to your hands, and we want to just work with our hands, and we're bringing this into a ball. You work gently, no smushing your dough. You'll get in trouble with me for that. You want to be as gentle as possible, or you'll end up with dough that's like really tough, and we want this to be light and flaky and tender. So we're just going to keep gathering this into a ball. The beauty of working with shortening is you don't have to take this dough and refrigerate it like you do butter crust. So every once in a while, I just love the simplicity of shortening crust. A nice little ball there. And the really cool thing is this is now ready to roll out. So let's get busy. I'm using one of my favorite baking tools, and that is this silicone mat. This is a treasure to me. If you don't have one, I'd highly recommend you get one. I always put links to the things that I love and use in the description below, so this one will be there. They are so much nicer for cleanup, for ease of even getting the dough. You can use this to get your dough going onto your rolling pin. And this whole thing can just go over to the garbage can when you're done to clean up. Just saying. Cover your surface with some flour. Be somewhat generous. You want to make sure that your dough doesn't stick, and this is not the place to skimp on flour. Our beautiful little piece of dough here. Again, I handle it as little as possible because I do not want it to get tough. Just kind of shaping it into a disc to get it started. Use more flour. Flour the rolling pin. Start in the center and work your way out. Just keep doing that. This also has the circumference of whatever it is you're working with. So it's really nice. You can look if a recipe tells you 12 inches or however many centimeters, you can just use these as a guide. I'm going to say for this particular recipe, anything goes. That's what I love about this so much. For a galette, it's rustic. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just roll it into a circle. And what you get, you get. Halfway through, you want to pull that back, add more flour because it will stick. And that is really sad if that happens. Same thing on both sides. Give it a little bit of a turn. This is the easiest dough to work with. It has lots of elasticity. That's about it, and I will show you. This is how thick it is. I mean, you can just kind of see it's nice and thin. I may do just one more. Usually I trim the edges off, but I'm not trimming them off. I'm actually putting them in the bake. So I want to make sure they're not too thick. Okay. Now, crust is done. We're going to bake this on a baking sheet. So for those of you who don't like making pies because you think they're too hard and you don't have a pie dish, no excuses. I'm sure you have a baking pan. Choose wisely on your baking pan because the nature of this, again, it's kind of rustic. And a lot of times the filling will bubble and come out over. I have mine lined with some parchment paper. This is super simple. And I'll show you where this nice little mat comes in. You just kind of get it started. And then you can just take this, get it right over to your sheet, and just roll it out. Now we're going to set this aside. I know this doesn't look really pretty, but it will when we're done. So I'm putting this aside for now, and we're going to start our peaches. Now we process these beauties. They don't always want to release their skin very easily, and so I have learned it really is always an adventure. There are times when you get peaches and you can just peel the skin off with your fingers. You can peel a peach like an apple. I'd prefer not to do that because it's actually kind of difficult. So we're going to blanch these, and basically you just put them in boiling water for 5 to 10 seconds even, and then put them in an ice bath because you don't want to cook them. You're just trying to get them to release their skin. Put them in the ice bath. That'll arrest the cooking, and then we'll work with them from there. Take a paring knife, and you just slit, make a cross, just like that, and drop it in. So one at a time, Just going to go ahead and remove the skins. I do use a paring knife. I mean, depending what you end up with, again, sometimes peaches, the skin just slides off. Every one is an adventure. This is just peeling back, but for the most part, you may need to just give it a little help with the paring knife. We're going to work our way through as best we can. I also did want to note, you can leave the skins on. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And some people actually prefer that. When you're doing a galette, that's a good time to do it because it is the rustic version of a pie. And what's more rustic than cutting these slices and having the skins on? That is a preference thing, and that is entirely up to you. If that's something you'd like to do, nothing wrong with that. So there's one done. We have 5 more to go. Now's a good time to turn the oven on, other than my fingers are sticky, but I'm still going to do it. Turn your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit or 220 Celsius. Grab another peach here. These are actually peeling very nicely. Look at that. That makes me so happy. The reason we did our crust first is because peaches, once you add the sugar, they start producing a lot of juices, and we want to not have them sitting doing that for a really long time. We don't want a big soggy bottom, so we want to make sure that we do this after so that they're not sitting for a really long time. Now we're going to prepare our peaches. We're going to just cut them into slices. Just sink your knife in. Work the whole way around. There's a great big pit in there. And typically, if you twist your knife just a bit, it should, in theory, come right off. And I'm not embarrassed in any way that it's not. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes they release the pit very easily. Sometimes they don't. I'll show you a way to work around that. I've done this many times. So you already have your nice cut in half, and it's not going to let go of the pit. The next one may. We'll just take it as it comes. Use your knife and you just cut a slice and you just work your way around. There's more than one way to get the peach from the pit. And look, you still get the little slices. We're just getting them a different way. And there we have our pesky little pit. We're going to do that a few more times here. Look at this. We have a beautiful bowl of peaches sliced, ready to go. I'm going to cut a lemon in half. And I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of lemon juice over this. It'll help it just keep its color. It adds just some brightness to the overall bake. I'm gonna give that a stir. These are so pretty. We're gonna add 3/4 of a cup of sugar. That's 150 grams. 1/3 of a cup of flour. This is what's gonna thicken our mixture when it's in the oven. That's 42 grams. Just for some balance, I'm doing about 2 pinches of salt. Give this a nice stir. Oh my goodness, this looks so beautiful. Gorgeous. Lovely. Cannot wait to see this when it's done. We're going to grab our crust here. Again, very rustic. That's part of the beauty. I'm going to put this filling right in the center. Okay, now all you do, this is super simple, is fold your pie crust up over. You can pleat it. Just keep working your way around. And that is all there is to a galette. Last step, we're going to do an egg wash. This is optional, but it definitely brings out the color and just gives your bake a little more golden browned texture when it's coming out, or golden brown color. This is our water from earlier with the crust. 1 tablespoon of water. Mix that up. And then you're just going to brush this on the crust. There is no sugar in this crust. If you want to sprinkle sugar on here before you bake it, you can. I like the contrast of a neutral or a little bit of salt in the crust and then the very sweet filling. But if you want to add a little bit of sugar just for color or texture, you're certainly able to do that. Just sprinkle some on top of the egg wash once you get it on. I'm gonna pop this in the oven. Good luck, little guy. So it's been 30 minutes. I'm just taking a peek to see what we've got going on in here. Oh, it looks gorgeous. I'm looking for golden brown crust, and then I want that filling to be bubbling away. The filling, the flour needs really to come to a full boil and just really to get it nice and thick. So I'm gonna give it 5 more minutes and then I'm gonna pull it out. Our peach galette is out of the oven. It is absolutely beautiful in a rustic way. I kind of appreciate that. It was easy to make and it's gorgeous. It is super hot. It had bubbled out on one side, so I took it off the pan. It's all cleaned up and ready for its taste test at some point. This needs to cool probably at least for 30 minutes up to an hour. So I'll see you back here in a little bit. You saw how easy this was to make, and now it's time to cut it, and I can't wait. I just wanted to show you the bottom of this. Even the bottom crust is just flaky. You hear that? Amazing. This is beautiful. This is peach pie in all its glory. This is so good. It's absolutely delicious. The crust is tender and flaky. The filling is done to perfection. This is a great recipe. And I just want to say, since you stuck with me and you made a galette, I now know you can make a pie. I have some great pie recipes. Go to my pie playlist and I will see you there.